Thank you. Defolu Olufon I'm a lawyer. I qualified about 27 plus years ago from the law school, and I had my first degree in University of Lagos, and I also had a Master's of Law from University College London. After qualification from the law school, I started at one of the big law firms today in Lagos called Olufon, where I had my foundation, my tutelage, and where I learned a lot of what I do today. After a few years there, I decided to go and do a master's, which I think I spent about 6 or 7 years in Olufon, and then went on to do a master's of law at University College London. And shortly after that, I was able to get the opportunity to work in-house with British Gas in the UK actually, and then came back to Nigeria, and then worked in a few countries with them around the world: China, Singapore, the UK, and Nigeria. And came back to Nigeria for some time, and then after that, a few years after, about 6-7 years in British Gas, who's actually my current CEO today, was my MD at the time in British Gas. We decided to start a Nigerian independent company with a few others, colleagues, called First Exploration and Petroleum Development Company, for short, First TMP, which is where I am today as General Counsel. I've been now for 14 years since we started First TMP. So in a nutshell, that's Defolu Olufon on the career side, academic side. As a person, I'm married to another lawyer who's also actually in this industry, and we have one daughter. And that's me. I love sports, I love music, and I try to do a bit of football and swimming every now and then. And I like music. So that's Defolu Olufon. Takes me back to my early days, right from my first day as a lawyer, actually. When I started at Olufon in 1999, I think, I started working with one of the leading arbitrators and litigators in Nigeria then. So I was always supporting him and some of my seniors in the practice in doing work for them in arbitration. So it's always been a part of my life, right from my early career. That's a very good question. I think I'll approach it from a different angle from the question you've asked. Because I've been on the practice side as a litigator and arbitrator, I've been in-house, and then I've seen a lot that has gone on in our industry. This is the energy industry, the oil and gas industry. Litigation has been a distraction for a lot of oil and gas companies, especially the big international oil companies who had been here for a while and who had a lot of legacy issues with litigation, with their communities and other Nigerian above ground issues, as we call it. So I look at arbitration first, or disputes, ADR, alternative, from a point of trying to avoid them. We call it dispute avoidance. So I always look at it first from that angle. Let's avoid the disputes as much as possible. Now, if the dispute does come up, and they usually do, how we first approach it is try and resolve it through the working teams of the counterparties and our counterparties, who are probably the first people who get to, see a dispute coming. If that doesn't work, then we go to mediation or negotiation, or in our industry, we have what we call expert determination, which we use a lot. If that also doesn't work, then we go to arbitration. And where arbitration also doesn't work, or is not the best option to use, then we go to litigation. So we see litigation really as the last resort. So so that's how I see arbitration here. We have been able to avoid a lot of arbitration and litigation too in First TMP especially, but we did have a few cases every now and then. And one of the cases we had involved one of our equipment contractors for our floating production and storage and offloading vessel, FPSO for short. And it was quite a complicated case because it involved some equipment which was specialized for the work that we do in producing oil and gas. And we decided to use arbitration. I think we used expert determination for it because we needed to get a very quick resolution for that dispute to ensure that it did not delay our project and delay the schedule of our project, which would have impacted all our projections for cash flow and our bottom line. And with arbitration, we were able to resolve that issue very quickly because we were in control of the process. Whereas if we had gone to litigation, we're not in control of the court process, the judicial process in Nigeria. And there's also always an opportunity for parties to appeal if they didn't, like the decision that came out of the court of first instance, which is the high court. But if you were able to use arbitration, you could get a very quick resolution. You could also get the expertise of having people who have done it before, who know exactly what you're talking about, and who understand the mechanics of the kind of equipment and the kind of solutions to the problems that you have when those kind of equipments give you issues in the oil and gas industry. So that's one example where arbitration worked for us. And I would say probably the better option than going to the litigation route. So recently, well, maybe not recently, but I've now heard a number, it hasn't happened to me, but I've heard a number of colleagues say that arbitration is now becoming slower. That part of why people always opted for arbitration in the past was it was a quicker way to resolve disputes without having the unending, litigation never ceases when you are doing litigation all the way to the Supreme Court, if it gets to that. But recently, a number of colleagues have, voiced out that arbitration is becoming slower to almost, maybe not as bad as litigation yet, but close to it. So I think something that the arbitral institutions in Nigeria need to do is find a way of making that process as fast as it should and conclude the arbitration quickly so that the essence, especially in the oil and gas industry, the essence of everything we do is time. Time is money in this business, with all what's happening even in the world today with the Iran war with the US and all of that, oil price is changing on a day-by-day basis. And if you have a dispute that keeps your project from coming to fruition, it can really cause a lot of losses for an oil and gas company. So for that reason, I think part of what needs to be done to improve arbitration is make it as quick as possible to achieve the aim that works for all parties. But outside of that, I'm not sure there's much that needs to improve in the sense of arbitration itself. I think we have very good arbitrators in Nigeria, comparable to anywhere in the world. I've been involved in international arbitration also, so I've seen where Nigeria has its pluses in that area. So I think in-house counsel first must understand alternative dispute resolution options, understand arbitration, learn more about the rules of the arbitral bodies, learn about the legislation that governs arbitration, attend as many courses on arbitration as much as possible so that they can understand the quick learnings and the expertise of it. And eventually maybe even join one of the arbitral bodies and become a member and even eventually become a fellow, and earn a fellowship in some of the arbitral bodies. And I think that's what every in-house counsel needs to do to ensure that arbitration and alternative dispute resolution options become a part of their lives. Yeah. If you had asked me that question years back, I would have said, I'll still be here for a long time. On a lighter note, really, 5 to 10 years. I should be looking at early retirement, or maybe I've retired already. But on a serious note, in 5 to 10 years, I think all that remains for me to achieve is mentor as many more of the younger ones who are coming behind me, my colleagues in the office and everywhere else. Pour out all what I've learned, all the expertise of a few decades, which I now have, to make them the best in-house counsel that they can be, and then just leave a legacy of service, of making an impact in the industry and in my profession. So really, that's what I see in the next 5 to 10 years as I round up my career, by the grace of God. Definitely not a geologist, although I work with geologists here every day in this office. I think I'll be a rock star. One, because I love music, all genre of music. I like, from gospel to pop to maybe not rock as much, but all the rest. And yeah, I like to enjoy myself. I like to go out. I like to have a good time listening to music. So I'd say rock star for sure. Live with no worries, no grudges, and try to be as positive in all situations as much as possible. I used to do history when I was in school, and I think I'm still sort of a big historian in looking back to the great individuals that we've had in the world. I think in modern times, if I had the opportunity, I would have loved to have a discussion over lunch with Nelson Mandela. And really, because one reason why I've always wondered how he was able to forgive people that did so much harm to him and his people. And I think for that reason was, try to find out how he was able to forgive them, is why I would have wanted Nelson Mandela to have been the person. Avant-garde in-house counsel. That'll be the title. Any day I'll pick Akara. I'm not a puff person. Actually, when I was younger, I used to be, but now Akara for sure, without any doubt. I try and stay away from puff actually. So I'd like to thank the Chartered Institute of Arbitration for Nigeria for the opportunity for us to do this interview with this series, and also thank you for this plaque which you have given me. I appreciate it, and I look forward to doing more with the Institute in the future. I must say that I think arbitration is something that is good for all in-house counsel, good for everyone to be a part of it, to learn more about it, and to use it and propagate it in resolving disputes going forward. So I'll welcome all my colleagues to join the Chartered Institute of Arbitration and many other fellow arbitral bodies in Nigeria. Thank you.